19 minutes to 8. Well, there's actually quite a lot in the papers about trains and fares and yesterday's interview with the Rail Minister, Claire Perry. There are lots of issues to be dealt with on the railways, but apart from fares, reliability, punctuality, here's another one. It's one that has, I have to say, bugged me for quite a while. It's the seat reservation system. Reserved seats, some of us might claim, obstruct the efficient use of space on trains, particularly reserved seats that are not actually used. Plus, it takes time and effort to have a whole reservation system. Do we even need reserved seats on trains? I had to take the train from London to Manchester yesterday and thought I'd monitor the situation more closely. Now, here's the problem. The train is starting and I'm aboard and I have a seat reservation. But my reservation isn't the kind of seat I like. I want a table and I've found one. So my reserved seat is unoccupied, and yet it says reserved. No one else can take it. I'm a double-seat hogger. In fairness to myself, though, I'm probably not alone because Vrgin, like other operators, lets you book seats on trains even if you have a flexible ticket, so you can hog a seat on a train that you're not even on. And as you walk down the trains, you often see many reserved seats that are unoccupied.
Welcome on board if you just joined us at Stoke-on-Trent. This is the 7:45 calling into Manchester Piccadilly. Macclesfield first at 8:01.
Now at Stoke, the train in fact has become absolutely chock-a-block. We have people in the aisles, people in between the carriages, and the reservation system seems to have broken down. The empty reserved seats, well, they've all just been taken, and I don't think they've been taken by people with seat reservations.
As you can see, we are fairly busy this morning. So if you do have personal items on the seats next to you, please remove them so that others can get a seat.
Well, I've arrived at Manchester and I can summarise everything that was wrong with seat reservations on that train journey. For the first half, the train was mostly empty anyway. Didn't matter if people hogged seats they didn't use, because anyone who wanted a seat would be able to find one. The whole bureaucracy of seat reservations, from the ticket machine disgorging 4 bits of card to the shuffling around trying to find a specific seat, it was all a waste of time. Once we got to Stoke and the train was rammed, well, at that point the reservation system broke down. But hey, didn't matter, because it was only a short journey from that point on. So, dear train companies, I know that there are bigger problems in the world than faulty seat reservation systems, but here's my plea. Reserve reservation systems for long journeys where the train might actually be expected to be full. So those are my thoughts on the train to Manchester yesterday. It was a Virgin train, and Richard Scott, who used to be a transport correspondent here, in fact, is Director of Corporate Affairs for Virgin Trains, joined us on the line. Good morning, Richard.
Morning.
Why do we have seat reservations on trains that are empty?
Well, the simple answer, Evan, is because it's what our customers want. We speak to our customers all the time. We ask them what services they like, what they'd like to improve, and we know that seat reservations work. We know that a big problem for a lot of people who are not as experienced train travellers as you are, they turn up, they worry about will they get on the right train, will they be able to find the right carriage, will they have a seat when they get there? And knowing that they've got a seat, knowing that they've got a reservation, removes a huge amount of anxiety for them, and it's a big plus, and so we know that customers want it.
But couldn't you just tell the customers, look, you'll get a seat. I mean, don't worry about it on this train because this train is not going to be full, or it's only going to be full from Stoke and you're getting on before Stoke, so you don't have to worry. I just wonder if you did it just for the trains that are full and just for the journeys that are, say, over an hour and a half, wouldn't that work?
I suppose you still wouldn't remove the anxiety, I suppose. If you consider for a moment a well-known Irish airline, which until recently had completely unallocated seating, everyone knows that they're going to get a seat on that plane. There is a seat for everyone. They haven't overbooked it, but it's still extremely stressful. When the gate opens, you've got a mass scrum and everyone has to rush to their seat. Will I get a seat with my partner, my child, etc.? There's a massive stress there. We don't want that on Virgin Trains. We pride ourselves on our customer service. That's not an experience we want.
But of course, the airlines typically have everybody on a reserved seat, and you're mixing unreserved and reserved passengers. Do you know, I don't bet you even know, how many reserved seats are actually not taken up by the passengers? Because I frequently, a ticket is booked for me, I pick it up at the station, it's got a reservation, it's the wrong kind of seat, or it's the wrong train, I'm not even on that train, it's a flexible ticket. Do you know how many of your reserved seats are actually just sitting there reserved but unused?
The short answer is no. We do know that about half of customers on average do book a seat, so that tells you that a lot of people do want a seat. Your point about when you got on the train yesterday, the seat that was reserved for you wasn't the one you wanted is a good one, and that's something we're looking at, because the more comprehensive we can make the booking system so that if you say you want a forward-facing seat by the window in an airline-style seat without a table, then you can book one of those. At the moment, it's not that sophisticated, the train booking system, so we're always looking for ways to improve things, and we will never get there.
OK, last little detail point for the aficionados. On the Virgin trains, because you've got an electronic reserved seat thing, you don't have to have a guard walking down the train sticking a card in the back of each seat telling you whether it's reserved or not. The downside of your system is it says reserved. I don't know whether it's reserved from Doncaster or whether it's reserved to Crewe. I just have to basically assume it's reserved for almost the whole journey.
Yes, and I think that's something we'll look at as well. As I say, we're always looking for ways to improve. If you're in that sort of mindset as a company, you never accept satisfaction. You're always looking for excellence. And I think your example of when people gone on at a Stoke and just sat in the reserved seats is a perfectly good one. If people think that it's empty, they can sit there, and then if someone turns up with a reserved ticket, then obviously there's going to be a discussion.
Then you have that little awkward thing of
that little
hello,
thing.
Oh, have I made a mistake? So sorry.
And our staff, our people are there to help, and the train managers do encourage people to sit in the seat that they've booked. People like yourself aren't a double seat hogger, but we can't force people clearly to sit in the seat that they've booked. We like it, but we can't force it.
Richard Scott, thanks ever so much.
I think everyone should be forced. Let them dare. The time is 12 minutes to 8. Time for Thought for the Day. And in our Glasgow studio this morning, John Bell of the Iona community. Good morning, John.